This foolish player, they made the foolish mistake of thinking that a rook is worth more than a bishop at the end of the game. And it isn't. It absolutely isn't. A bishop is fantastic for getting pawns home at the end of the game because a bishop and a pawn support each other, and we're going to see that in action in this game. So let's get into it. Funny opening. The English opening, I used to play a lot actually. c4, and the knight coming to this square here. A lot of this fairly standard.
Kinside castling.
Early castle for me, short castle, and he's going to short castle as well. Bit of an exchange there, totally unnecessary, but
Kinside
I don't mind anti-castles. That's the end of the opening. Of course, my queen is under a little bit of danger there. As long as I keep my eye on it, it's not a problem. But he is going to have his fun with her. Of course, he's got to do something here, because otherwise I'll take the knight and the pawn that recaptures. So there we go. So yeah, he just decides he's going to have fun with my queen. I think he weakens his position in the process. Certainly there he does now, because that was just a juicy knight to take, and now his king's exposed. And I already had an idea that he wanted to run those pawns down towards my king, so that's why that became something quite important to do, to dismantle those pawns. It's not generally my strategy. I don't generally think that opening up your opponent's ranks is necessarily a good idea. It can actually backfire. I don't know, I never mind if they open up my ranks, you see. It just makes routes for my rooks to come out. See, so I moved this rook here, because obviously if I was to fianchetto or something, he'd be able to grab that rook, but he's still got a second bishop there. So with those two bishops, I'm already considering, I'm looking at this, and they are a very big threat the way they're lasering like that. Two bishops stacked like that are always very deadly. And I am actually considering giving up the rook at this point on purpose. Because one bishop is, it's only 50% of the board. And it can't change that 50%. The same 50% all the time. So we go here. In fact, he's already given a pawn there, but he doesn't take it. And then we go here. And this is what I wanted to do. I just wanted to get rid of one of these bishops. And he doesn't even take it. So I go here instead. Block that. Because I took that queen move. Let's go back. I took this queen move to mean that he may be getting ready to stack a rook behind and move that pawn forward. So we just blockade. And a blockade is, where you put a piece in front of a pawn so that it just physically can't move. So now he gets ready to advance this pawn instead, so that he can move the bishop from being a blockade. And this is kind of probably the wrong move. I probably shouldn't have done this. It was totally unnecessary, but you see, I think he was going to maybe even just move the pawn one square to start with, and then get yet another rook behind it, and then just put weight of crushing numbers behind. And with my queen there right at the front, it's not going to be easy to defend that pawn properly, and I would have lost a pawn probably. So yeah, so I let the rook go there with that move. So although that was a bad move, the reason I did it wasn't really anything to do with the bishop. It was just, I thought, yeah, okay, take the rook, because I don't want these two bishops. I'll gladly give up a rook for that. And I think he thought he was being clever taking that. So now he does this, and now he is being a bit clever, because that pawn move, as I say, it did slightly mess up my bishop's safety. Manages to get here, safe for now. Probably could escape most kinds of attack. There's ways, or I can counterattack, and probably can survive. Wasn't 100% sure though. But after this, that bishop definitely survives, and I would say that that is a good bishop now, because I've got all those pawns on the same colour. And I think I should keep it that way. It doesn't take on passant, which I think is a mistake. So he carries on. And I thought, yes, I'll take the queen. You should always trade off a piece that's entering your half of the board, according to Fisher. And actually, in this case, it was definitely worth doing, because those rooks are going to find it very hard to get through this lattice. Only a queen can get through this lattice, and even she may struggle. But the rooks, it's very easy to lattice rooks off. using a net of pawns, especially backed up by a bishop that can run around and stop the rooks from doubling. You see, he's had to move that rook there now. Now he's moved that one there. Now that one's vulnerable, see? Now he puts that one there. So he's kind of been forced onto that rank. Now I've shored up the whole net. And I'm pretty confident here. Now I can go to this pawn. I've got better pawn structure than him. Just bring up the king. We capture. Yeah, we don't want him to double his rooks. Let's just keep at it. Just come back to here. And there we are. And now he's tied up with trying to protect his pawns. Now another one under attack. Now I can just go here. And now you see I've entered his half of the board. I actually think this is alright. Both my pieces are in his half of the board. My bishop already was. His rooks are just absolutely strangled by guard duties now. Goes for the pawn advance. Not a bad move. May well be the best move in this situation. I don't know. Maybe trading the rook wouldn't be a bad move. I don't know.
Check.
But we've got a check here. And a pawn to snap up. Now, it's very important to remember that my king is not back ranked, but it is stuck on that rank. It's almost back ranked. Certainly to 2 rooks, that's tantamount to a back rank. So we've got to try and get rid of this other pawn, the one that's pushing my king back.
Check.
So we do another check quickly. Grab that, and then come over with the rook ready to grab that pawn. There's no way he can save it. He hasn't got any way of saving it. Comes over to here. Take pawn.
Check.
And now I can escape that way.
Check.
In fact, it comes over with this, and it's an exchange.
Check.
Like I say, I'm okay with that. Look, bishop and 3 pawns, I say, is more powerful than 2 pawns and a rook, especially since I've got 2 passed pawns. And because of my bishop, he hasn't got any. Now up comes the king. Now his king cannot move on to that rank in front there of my king. And all these rook moves that he's making, they are all completely impotent moves. Well, there's a pawn I could have taken there, but then I can't take the next one without the threat of check. And then my pawns would not be linked, so I didn't take it.
Check.
So I thought it's better to keep this pawn here that I'm above now.
Check.
This was the danger, you see. That was the danger, was 3-fold repetition. Unfortunate, because I think without that, I'm in a winning position. I don't think there's any question about it. I'm in the winning position there. You see, this player made the mistake of thinking that rooks are more powerful than bishops, but they aren't always. So there's my rating, and I hope you enjoyed that. Put like and subscribe and put your comments below for anything that you think I messed up, anything you'd like that I did, or anything you've learned. And we'll see you next time on Chess Voices, the most relaxing chess channel on YouTube.